Hello and welcome back to another Aspects of Archaeology. Today we're going to be looking at the three-age system, or as I have called it, the 3 and a bit age system. Now the main reason for this is because I am forever being asked by email and messages through YouTube, what do you mean when you say the Iron Age, the Bronze Age, the Neolithic, the Mesolithic? You refer to these things all the time, but I don't really know what they are. And I have sort of touched on what they are in previous videos, but I thought I would devote a whole Aspects of Archaeology to this issue and tackle it head on. So let's get going. The 3 and a bit age system really has its roots in a cannonball. In 1807, the British Navy launched a preemptive strike on Copenhagen. This was an effort to siege the Dano-Norwegian fleet and became known as the Bombardment of Copenhagen. The city was not a safe place to be, and many buildings were destroyed by cannon fire. There was even a direct hit upon the palace, causing much distress and heartache, not least for the king, for his personal museum, his room of curiosities, had been damaged. Enter Christian Jørgensen Thomsen, a man of independent means and a passion for collecting ancient coins. He was assigned to sort out the mess, and the first thing he did was to send all of the animal bones to a zoology museum. He then turned his attention to all of the man-made objects and artifacts, and began to sort them. Many of these artifacts had been found by farmers, and Thomsen was aware that things were changing. Farming was intensifying in Denmark, and with intensification in farming came a threat to the places where these objects were found. Barrows were being dug up and removed from farmland at an alarming rate. Thomsen knew that people in ancient times often left objects underneath or within these mounds. And though he accepted the right of a farmer, when faced with a mound, to dig it out of the way, he requested that objects found within, including bones, were brought to him at the Central Museum. With each new find came more information about those objects, and more importantly, where they had been found. Thomsen noticed a pattern. There appeared to be 3 distinct technological ages, a Stone Age, a Bronze Age, and an Iron Age. With this observation came a revelation and a way of organising the entire museum so the public might understand which objects went with which. So, by virtue of his passion for collecting and sorting, C.J. Thomsen laid the groundwork for what would become the 3-age system. However, it was far from complete, and many other people would have something to contribute. It was quickly suspected that each technological age inferred cultural differences. Archaeologist and banker John Lubbock was an early proponent of this, and suspected that the best way to understand these tools was to understand the way they were used. He observed the Inuit and the way that they made use of particular tools in very particular environments. This observation was key to understanding that the Stone Age was in fact many Stone Ages, with different types of tools adapted for different periods and different environments. And along these lines emerged the Old Stone Age, the Paleolithic, the Middle Stone Age, also known as the Mesolithic, and also the New Stone Age, also known as the Neolithic. Many more people worked to add nuance to these categories. Through observations of stratigraphy, we developed an understanding of how these technologies had changed over time and relative to each other. By observing the environment that these technologies came from, we gained a deeper understanding of what they were used for. And of course, with the advent of various scientific dating techniques, came the ability to more accurately assign these periods their place in time. And these periods of time are approximately this. Between 2.5 million years ago and 300,000 years ago is called the Lower Paleolithic. 300,000 to 50,000 years ago is called the Middle Paleolithic. And approximately 50,000 years ago to 10,000 years ago is called the Upper Paleolithic. Between roughly 10 and 7,000 years BC was the Mesolithic. Between approximately 7,000 and 5,000 years BC was the Neolithic. The years 5,000 to 2,000 BC correspond approximately with the Bronze Age, and again, depending upon where you are, the Iron Age is between 1500 BC and 400 AD. From there we enter more conventional history and the myriad of epochs assigned to more recent times. And there we go, the 3 and a bit age system that we all know and love. Largely speaking, they're a series of technological ages or epochs which archaeologists can observe through time and therefore assign people to that period of time based upon the material culture that they're living with. And more often than not, this is rooted in the technology which is being used at that time. However, things aren't quite that simple. The eminent archaeologist Vere Gordon Childe in the 1920s coined the phrase the Neolithic or the farming revolution. This phrase emphasized the momentous nature of the arrival of farming into human histories. However, it has been criticized as sounding political, as though humanity was aching and looking for the big change. This can lead to a progressionist view of history, as though each age is demonstrably better than the previous, as though all of society is getting harder, better, faster, and stronger. Such a view of history cannot easily explain, for example, the switch from bronze to iron. If progression is key, at first, iron was a bad choice, not least because the temperatures involved in making iron were so much greater than those needed to make bronze. And believe it or not, early iron was inferior as a weapon and a tool to bronze. The reality must be more nuanced and connected probably to the prestige of owning this new substance, iron. Another non-progressive change is to be found with the Natufian culture on the eastern Mediterranean around 12,000 BC. They are famous for wonderful items of jewellery, but also something else. They were living in a Mesolithic world and acting very much like Mesolithic people, burying their dead and living off their land, hunting and gathering as they went. Except in this case, they began to gather together early cereals, and were even probably eating early bread-like foods. This could have been the beginning of farming as we know it today, sedentary lifestyle based on agriculture. But something, possibly environmental, changed, and people, it seems, reverted to a hunting and gathering lifestyle. So these observable epochs do not follow progress, they are rather an adaptation to the environment around us. So, as we have seen, the 3-age system is not a map of progress. It's not a straight line getting better and better. As a friend of mine once said, earthworms are just as highly evolved as human beings, in so much as they can dig through soil and all the different bits and bobs that they need to do. Can you eat soil? Well, I mean, obviously you can, but should you? So to compare these different periods and say that one is better than another is probably incorrect. The best way to think about it is that each of these time periods are best adapted at that time for their particular environment and their culture. So that's been the 3 and a bit age system. Hopefully this video has been interesting and or useful to you, and hopefully it will go some way to clarifying what it is that I'm talking about when I talk about the Iron Age, the Bronze Age and the various Stone Ages. So if you have any questions, feel free to send them my way, and I will definitely get back to you about that though. However, in the meantime, please feel free to comment below, or alternatively subscribe to the channel by pushing the button above. We do actually have a Facebook page, and most things that don't make it onto the YouTube channel make it onto that Facebook page instead. And if you are a Twitterite, concurrently all things that go onto the Facebook page are being posted onto Twitter, and that is at Archaeosoup, and the soup is spelt with a 0 instead of an O. So that's been it for today. Until next time, thank you very much.